Alright, so I was in a bit of a predicament recently and I had some drive errors. And if you know anything about hard drives, you know that they can die after maybe a couple of years, and it's recommended that after 3 years you change your drives completely. And that's why old laptops are just really slow. It's not because necessarily they're underpowered, but just they're old hard drives, and usually they're very slow ones. And I kept these drives for maybe 4 or 5 years, which really isn't recommended, and I was too stingy to go out and buy myself some new drives. And what happened is I suffered a problem with my 3TB, and I'm going to show you how my drives are laid out and how Kingston saved the day. So these are my drives. This is an SSD, this is a hard drive, this is a hard drive, and this is a hard drive, and then an SSD. They're labelled in such a way that they kind of make sense. This is what I edit from. This is kind of just my general storage of all my applications. This laptop drive is used basically for games. This is where I put all my footage, and this is where I back up. And the problem is, this drive had a failure. So I did the first thing that I could, and that's to go to Google Drive and back up all of my data. So here I backed up 1.2 terabytes of footage. So I almost had 2 of these drives actually in my basket, in my Amazon basket. And then I remembered that Kingston exists. So I reached out to Kingston, I sent a plea, I sent an email, I was like, this is what's happened. I need to switch to SSD, whether I buy them or not, essentially. Will you send out some SSDs? It would be amazing if you could. And they hooked me up with these 2 SSDs. We've got 2 UV500 1TB drives, which we'll be going into a little more detail later on in the video, their speeds and how they work and stuff. And the main thing is I'm gonna try and become a little bit more minimalist in my data. There's a lot of data on there that I just simply don't use, but the phone footage, the really important bit, that will fit especially on one of these, but essentially over 2. We're going to go through the process, we're going to show you what you get in the box and stuff, and then we're also going to show you the speed difference because I'm going to run some tests before and after. These 2 drives down here are the culprits. This top one is actually the main problem. These drives are going to be going into another server which I have just for temporary kind of backup, because I will need to replace them with proper Western Digital Seagate drives.
Go on, get your nails in there.
This is the UV500 SSD. We've got 2 of these. I'm going to unbox one just to show you what's in the box, and we'll get on to actually replacing them. Okay, open it up. We've got quite a lot in here. This isn't just the drive, this is the upgrade kit. So we have got a key that I'm going to have to blur out, but it's essentially an Acronis piece of software. An SSD, 2.5 SSD to 3.5 inch adapter. Those are actually quite useful to have. Then we have a SATA cable, and then a Molex to SATA power cable. We have a 3.5 inch adapter, which I've had a couple of these, which essentially you can make external SSD, like you can make external hard drives, external SSDs. In here we have the SSD itself, which is actually really nice. It's kind of industrial looking, so it's kind of like a really rough sandblasted coating. This thing comes with like a little, it's got some adhesive on the back, and essentially it's like a pad that's it's made of rubber or foam, and it's going to try and eliminate any kind of buzzing, but since SSDs don't move, it's not going to be an issue. I guess you could use this on a hard drive if you wanted to. Really not that useful to have. We've got 3 drives here. We've got my standard Kingston, which I already had. I'm not sure what model number this one is. However, we've got the 2 UV500s that they sent over. I think they look really sharp in here. It almost looks like a tuxedo look. I think it just looks fantastic. I'm going to connect up my power connectors. I'm going to have this drive kind of out of the case, but also still plugged in, just so I can monitor it. We're going to connect up to this monitor. I'm going to connect up the keyboard and mouse. I'm going to do the backups. I'm going to move it over. And whilst this is doing its backup thing and transferring everything over, I'm going to tell you how much better they are, effective, faster, and long lasting they are. Pound per gigabyte, hard drives are going to win without a doubt, but whilst they contain moving parts and create noise, vibrations, and heat, the SSD's output is so minimal that it's almost like sticking some metal to your PC in terms of the output in those areas. Where SSDs also excel is in their longevity if you're accessing them a lot. Kingston's UV500s come with a 5-year warranty and are rated at 500 megabytes per second read and 450 megabytes per second write speeds, exponentially faster than the hard drives we're replacing today. And what's great about the UV500 is that you can get them in an M.2, M-SATA and 2.5 inch form factor, with the latter being what we have here today. Alright, so we've just finished transferring all the stuff. So we've got the 2 SSDs, one has all the phone footage on it, the other one has like everything else, so all the other projects. This is the drive it's just come from. Everything went pretty smoothly. I'm actually going to rearrange the SSDs to a point where I can actually get the connectors plugged in, because right now it's kind of a bit of a stretch. I'll update you when everything is back and looking fairly fresh and how it looks on there.
Big nice.
I'm a cheapskate, so I keep the plastic on my side panel. Well,
Peel it for the viewers.
fine.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Anyway, with that little mini vlog thing out of the way, this is how my drive configuration looks. I did some testing from drive to drive, so typically I would transfer from my main phone drive over to my editing drive, and speeds were absolutely amazing, and I didn't have to worry about using the drives like with hard drives, where I would typically move something from the main drive to the editing drive, and I know I've said drive a lot. I'd worry that I was wearing it out, but with SSDs, and especially with that 5-year warranty, I don't have to worry, and that is amazing. I just want to give a massive thank you to Kingston, like a personal thank you. They didn't sponsor me, they didn't pay me, they didn't reach out to me, I reached out to them, and they sent out some drives to help with the workflow, because seriously, Failtech, for a couple of weeks, might not even have had videos up, because I rely so heavily on that drive storage that I mean, seriously, the channel would be in seriously bad shape. If you want to help Kingston out or me out, check the link in the video descriptions where you can buy the drives, because Black Friday is just around the corner. So, you know, there's definitely a lot going on and ways you can save money. Again, I have to reiterate, they didn't pay me to make this video. They just helped me out when I was in a time of need. And don't worry, it's not going to be PC content all the time now. We've got a load more phone stuff coming, including the Gear S2. Shout out to this guy for sending that straight over. Anyway guys, that's been it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do like, dislike, comment and subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one. Also check out social media and Discord, links will all be in the video description. As always, I want to give a massive thanks to my patrons. You guys are fantastic. I love you. My name's been Ryan Thomas with Failtech, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.